Hi Sagittarius, happy birthday and welcome to your December 2018 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us, which is normally 10 cards, but you got 2 extra cards in a position of the present, and also 2 in a position of the hopes or fears. So we'll go through the cards one by one. In the main situation position, we have the Three of Swords. Definitely not the ideal energy you'd want to be dealing with on your birthday, but this doesn't necessarily have to be a heartbreak that you personally experienced. It could also be that maybe you ended something with someone and they're heartbroken about it. That's certainly a possibility. And it doesn't always have to be about love either. It could just be disappointment in any area. Another thing that I do say to people too, sometimes when I see this card, is it doesn't necessarily mean that this is a brand new thing too. It could just be, especially with the Venus retrograde energy we had, maybe you're just reflecting back on a past relationship that might have went south. Because if we look at the card as a whole, for one, there's no blood on the swords, right? So, it could just be because they didn't want to be graphic necessarily, but it almost makes you feel like those swords have been in there for a while. So this could just be baggage that you guys have had for a while from a past relationship. And now, maybe with Jupiter coming back to your sign, which this is the first time it's doing it in 12 years, maybe that helps, boost you forward in that area and helps you put that behind you finally, if that's the case. In the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So this certainly could be pointing to some ending of a relationship, because with this in the challenge or obstacle position, this is often seen as a card of someone being single. But if you look, they look like they're pretty content. So it's not like it's a different energy from the Three of Swords, put it that way. If they're both related to heartbreak or endings of relationships or whatever, this person might not be so happy to be single, whereas this person seems to be embracing it and fully comfortable with themselves. Can't get it to focus now for some reason, but yeah, so if that's what it's saying, could just be saying that you did experience an ending and your challenge is to embrace his single life. And like I said, for some of you, it could be that you guys were the ones that ended it as well, so we have to keep that in mind. We'll see though as we go along with the rest of the cards. In the foundation position, we have the Sun. So there's a few different ways that this could be playing out. On the simplest level, this could just be saying that this is pointing to the fact that the Sun is in your sign for the time that this reading will be taking place. Another way that this could be playing out, though, could be saying that you're dealing with a Leo, since Leo is ruled by the Sun. It's, to me, the Strength card is more the Leo card as far as the major arcana, but since they are ruled by the Sun, that could point to a Leo as well. But this could just be saying that you're feeling revitalized and optimistic. So again, going back to the fact that maybe this was actually, something from the past that maybe you just revisited it in your mind with the Venus retrograde energy. Maybe you came across something from your ex that made you think about that relationship. Maybe they contacted you out of the blue. All of that's possible. But with the Sun in the foundation, this is most likely representing your energy. So to me, this says that you're feeling optimistic. You could even say reborn, right? You looks like a baby on that horse. And again, like I said, you have your ruler, which is Jupiter, back in your sign for the first time in 12 years. So you could be feeling reborn in that regard too. So maybe this is saying you finally, been able to put whatever that was behind you. That's certainly a possibility that I see there. Because in the past position, we have the Devil card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Capricorn. But Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So a few ways this could play out. This could be referring to the fact that you guys had Saturn in your sign. I don't need to remind you of that, right? You had Saturn in your sign for a couple of years, and now it's finally moved on to Capricorn. So maybe that's saying that this is a karmic connection that you might have gotten into during that time. Maybe it's just something, playing back from that time. Maybe again, it ended during that Saturn transit, but maybe for whatever reason, this is finally the time that you're truly getting over it now. Maybe your ruler coming back in your sign has helped you put it behind you finally. Um, for some of you, this could just be saying that you were dealing with a Capricorn. And then the Devil card to me also represents karmic relationships. If you look at the two people there, you see like the chains connecting the two of them. And I view that as a karmic connection, something that you had to go through to learn a lesson for whatever reason, to pay past karma up. So, they could be hard connections to get rid of because of that karmic connection, but usually once you do let those go, they usually are meant to end. So that's the good thing in that regard. So that in combination with the Three of Swords could definitely say that maybe you had this karmic connection, you finally let it go. And let's face it, if this person embodied the devil energy in a negative sense, meaning that that's how you felt around them, then that would be why the Three of Swords isn't necessarily the worst thing, and you're feeling like the sun now. After releasing that type of connection, you might feel free again. And we know, as Sagittarius, you guys like to feel free too, right? So, in the present situation, like I said, we had 3 cards here. We have the Six of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. So first, let me say the Knight of Wands for me is actually my court card that represents Sagittarius. So this could certainly be the energies that you have going for you right now. And again, I gotta come back to the sun being in the foundation, saying that, the combination, let's say, of the sun and obviously Jupiter, your ruler, back in your sign, could just have you feeling more like yourself again. Maybe this connection had you feeling out of sorts. You weren't feeling like yourself necessarily. Maybe you got rid of this karmic connection, and maybe now you're reconnecting with someone from your past that was a healthy connection, but maybe, again, with karmic connections, the point is usually that you had to go through that for whatever reason, to learn a lesson, to pay past karma, however you want to view it. So, maybe there was someone in your life in the past that you really did get along well with, but the timing was just off between the two of you. So maybe you're reaching out to them and maybe trying to offer some type of tangible offer of stability to them. That could be a possibility. Could be an earth sign if that's the case, with the pentacles represented there. But to me, I don't necessarily see this as representing a specific earth sign or anything. It's just more of a presenting a tangible offer. It's still in the earlier stages. It's not like the King of Pentacles, which we have at the bottom of the deck, let's say. It's still in its earlier stages. I always point out with the Page cards that if you look at their stance, I refer to it as 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So, if this is someone that maybe you have been disconnected from for a long time because you were in this karmic connection, maybe, this is you, all right, you're making that move to reconnect with them, but you're a little hesitant, like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go over, you know what I mean? Are they going to be open to me coming back? Whatever the case may be, that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, that's how I'm seeing these 3 cards most likely. Sometimes I call this the being the bigger person card too. So maybe if there was someone you had a falling out with in the past that you didn't necessarily want to have that falling out with, then that could certainly be what this card is pointing to as well. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a romantic connection. It could just be a childhood friend, let's say. Maybe you had a friend that really didn't want you with that person because they knew they were bad for you, and maybe you're like, oh no, that's, maybe you blew them off and you guys got into a fight over that, and now you're reconnecting. That's certainly a possibility. I'll get back to why I think that could be the case when we get to the outcome card, but we'll go through the cards one by one for now. In the near future position, we have the Queen of Wands. There we go. And this is usually my court card that represents Aries, actually. So this certainly could be you guys too, because you are a fire sign as well. So it could even saying that, moving from that night energy to the queen energy, maybe you're just taking on a more mature stance. Also, when I see a card like this, I look at what's going on with the sign of Aries, and Aries is your fifth house, which could be about romantic connections, creativity, multiple other things, sometimes children as well. But with the Uranus returning back to the fifth house, maybe that was it. You know, it's retrograding back in there now, so maybe that was the impetus that you needed to finally put that behind you and move forward. That's a possibility. The ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars is actually moving through your fourth house right now. So, again, if it was maybe a family member that didn't approve of this connection you were in because they knew it was bad for you and you just weren't seeing clearly at the time, maybe you're reconnecting with them as well. But to me, this is more saying the vibe that I'm getting here primarily is that you guys are feeling more in your power now. And again, with the sun in your sign and Jupiter back there, doesn't surprise me if that's the case. And you're in the position of your influence on the situation. We have the Ten of Swords. There we go. So, again, definitely not the best card that you could get, right? Three of Swords and Ten of Swords in the same spread is not really that good, especially for your birthday month. But the main vibe that I'm getting with this is, again, the key when we look at this position is to say that it's your influence on the situation. So that doesn't mean that this is you, right, with the 10 swords in your back. It could be saying that you ended something with someone else, meaning your influence was to actually end the connection. That's the main vibe that I'm getting here from the cards that we already spoke about earlier in the spread. So for the majority of you, I think that this is something you ended. If I remember right, the title for your reading last month, I think, was something about wanting to hit reset. So maybe that's what this was pertaining to back then too. You know, you were kind of at the point where you knew you wanted to end it, and maybe this is when you finally are ending it. Again, maybe that Jupiter coming back in gave you the impetus to finally make that move. That's certainly a possibility. And yes, for some of you, you know, not everyone's going to be in that position. Some of you, it could be something that someone ended something with you. But if that's the case, we got to keep in mind it is the Ten of Swords, so it's an ending. And then you could progress forward from there. So for those of you, and I think it'd be a very small percentage of you where someone ended something with you, you do have that going for you. The fact that, you know, and especially with the energies at play in your sign right now, you should be able to move past that fairly quickly. I really feel it was probably you, though, because I'm looking at the Queen of Swords and she's looking right at this card. So I feel like she's the one who put this into play. So I'm having more of a feeling that you guys really were the ones who ended something. And then in the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Five of Pentacles. So to me, this could just be saying that, you know, again, if you ended something with someone and they didn't see it coming, let's say now they might be feeling like this, right? Saying that they feel like they're left out in the cold. You know, just again, pointing to a karmic connection too. This could just be saying that you went through tough times with this person. And again, maybe it served this purpose as far as it was a karmic connection, but looks like now, whatever the case may be, it looks like this is when it's ending, one way or the other. You know, in December, Venus will be moving direct again and finally getting out of shadow as well in December. And then Mercury, which is retrograde, it will eventually go back direct in your sign in December as well. So maybe that's really what helps clear that energy out as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's going on there. And then in the hopes or fears position, you have two cards. And this was interesting to me too, because you have the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So this is a vibe that I got here. In the near future position, we have the Queen of Wands, right? So to me, that lets me know that these cards both represent you again. So to me, what I'm guessing is you could be fearing that, you know, you'll buckle, like let's say you feel guilty, for example, for cutting the person out of your life, even if you know that they're bad for you. Like if we look at this, now this person's cup, if you will, it looks like it's all closed off, right? Like they don't want to offer their love necessarily. So it could be that energy where you're like, I fear possibly letting my emotions get involved. I want to just be, more straightforward and focused on fairness and cutting this person out once and for all, right? So that's the vibe I'm getting. That it's more like you're hoping to embrace embody the Queen of Swords energy rather than the Queen of Cups energy, which might, start to feel guilty and let the person back in and then maybe start that karmic cycle once again. So it's a unique vibe that I'm getting there. That's just what stood out to me when I thought about, okay, this definitely seems like it's you. For some of you, it definitely could be another person, like we said, maybe an Aries or any other fire sign, but it's really got the vibe it was you, especially as we started to read through the cards. So to see two more Queen energies, it's me thinking that, okay, this is what the energy you're going to be in soon. You might be fearing getting into this energy. You'd rather be in this energy, which is to say, hey, if someone was being unfair to me, I'm going to cut them off. That's it. Whereas the Queen of Cups energy might be more forgiving, but at the same time, because of that, get back involved in a cycle that they should have ended already. And then in the outcome position, we have the Three of Cups. So to me, this is why I say, with this in the outcome position, this is another thing that leads me to believe that you were the one that ended this. And then also, again, maybe with this karmic connection, maybe you lost contact with people that you were friends with because they all didn't approve of the person. So, you cut them off in favor of this person, like, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about, right? That can happen sometimes. And now you're reconnecting with those people because usually with the the Three of Cups, yeah, it's a celebratory card, but I also see it as pointing to relationships that you've had for a long time. So it could be like family members, like I was saying, or just childhood friends, people that you've known for years that maybe you lost connection with. Now you're reconnecting with those people. But anyway, slice it, this is a pretty celebratory card. So that's, taking everything in as a whole. That's why I feel like, okay, yes, you have the Three of Swords here, sucky card. Ten of Swords, also sucky card, but seeing that in the outcome makes me feel like really it's more that you were cutting someone out and you're the one who put it all into play. And then in the end, you're able to feel free and celebrate. So that's the vibe I'm getting. Like I said, certainly for some of you, it could be the other way around, but there's just a lot of different indicators. I take the whole reading in, even though I talk through the cards one by one. I take in the whole picture as well, and that's what makes me think that really, for the vast majority of you, you guys are the ones who ended something and end up happier for it by the time it's all said and done in the outcome position. And again, it could be because you reconnected with someone too. That's certainly a possibility, because sometimes Venus retrograde brings people back from our past. That wasn't necessarily a bad connection. Maybe, again, the timing wasn't right. And maybe reconnecting with them made you realize, yeah, I really need to get out of this karmic connection. This just really isn't the right connection for me anymore. So maybe that's what you're celebrating as well, reconnecting with this person. Certainly a possibility. All right. The oracle card we have is Deep Knowing. There's the artwork for it. And that's number 43, if that has any significance to you. And we'll read through the messages there, see how they tie into this reading. Okay, it says essential meanings: intuition, listening to the oracle within, empathy, hypersensitivity. The oracle's message: intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with Source, the consciousness that you are a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing that people are taught to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their journeys, to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. This deep knowing allows you to open a door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or five senses, but which is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into the sacred dialogue of deep knowing. So tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe with, like I said, the energies at play, maybe that's what helps you see the connection more clearly, right? Maybe it's just an intuitive hunch you get, and then maybe something comes along to confirm that your intuition was correct, and then you're like, you know what, I'm out. Whatever the case may be, maybe you found out that they were being dishonest in some way, could have been involved with someone else, so whatever the case may be, that's definitely a good message there to say that, hey, your intuition might lead you on the right path in that regard. Now, for a relationship message, it says, there are occasions when you just know deep in your heart and soul that a person is going to play a meaningful role in your life. Someone crosses your path and suddenly, out of the blue, you're connected at a level impossible to describe. That feeling marks a moment in time etched indelibly onto your soul. Someone has entered your life who will be instrumental in your journey, so pay attention. Two hearts are calling to each other to begin an alchemical process. This is also a sign that your intuition about the person you care about is correct. Trust your heart to lead you now. Magic is about to happen. So it's possible that that's another way that this energy was playing out in the present as well. Like I said, when I saw the Knight of Wands, I thought of you guys because that's normally my Sagittarius card. But that could also just be saying that someone does come in suddenly, right? Let's look at these cards again. Someone does come in suddenly. Maybe that's what that Knight of Wands energy represents. And you feel like you've known them forever. You just feel like immediately there's some kind of connection that you can't even explain, right? And then it seems like you guys move towards stability fairly quickly. That's certainly a possibility for some of you. Let's read the prosperity message last, and we'll wrap up. It says, this is a time when your hunches will pay large dividends if you listen to them, take the risk, and act. Within you there is an oracular consciousness, a higher and deeper knowing that transcends the machinations of the smaller thinking mind. At the deep level of your intuitive senses, you have an access point to the genius of the collective. The energies of all thinkers and creators, all inventors and leaders, and all that you need in order to leap into success are available to tune into. This is an act of listening intently. Past the busy mind, your genius awaits. Okay. Well, I guess for some of you, it could potentially mean, looking at the prosperity message that way, it could potentially mean ending one career path as well, leaving one job and going to another. I didn't really get that vibe necessarily, to be honest with you, but hearing that message and then looking at the cards that could point to that, the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, the Ten of Swords there, and the Five of Pentacles, saying that if this was how you were feeling in this job, right, you felt like the job left you unfulfilled, and maybe you cut ties, but you know what, I have to get out of this job. And then at the end you feel, you're celebrating because maybe you got a new offer or something along those lines. Like I said, for the majority of you, I really didn't pick up that career vibe there, but maybe that message will resonate with some of you. I think that's about all the messages we have looking at the spread, so we'll wrap up there. If you guys want a personal reading with me, you could check out the About section of my channel for more info on that. If not, I'll check in with you guys next month. Happy birthday. I'll see you later.